Hi everyone, welcome to another live stream. My name is Matthew Archambault, and I say this every single week. I didn't prepare for this today, but here we are, and I'm just gonna go into the lion's den of YouTube live stream and try to draw with y'all. So let me skip this ad. Who was the person who made the ads? Okay, I guess that was me. Okay, 1 second. Let me just make sure my sound is good. Yeah, I think it's okay. Let's get rid of that. Welcome, everybody. Elizabeth, welcome. So in today's class, I just kind of want to try to draw this terracotta statue. This is a little bit different than my teaching curriculum at the School of Visual Arts. I'm doing more of like a structured teaching with them, and also on okay, thank you, Elizabeth. Also on my website, drawingtutorialsonline.com. That's a little bit more structured. Here on YouTube's a little bit more fun with some structure. And so in today's class, I want to focus on using toned tan paper with some terracotta pencil. Hi, Aura, welcome, and Angelia, welcome. Slar, welcome to the live stream. It should be a fun class. So materials that I'm going to use, we'll get to it in a moment, so you're just not watching me talk here, is we're going to use tone tan. I usually use the tone gray paper, but today I wanted to use the tone tan. I'm going to use my trusty, hi, Eldeberto, welcome, and Paul, welcome. Going to use terracotta pencil, maybe a brown colored pencil or black. I don't know. Let's just say I'm going to use multiple colored pencils, and I'm going to definitely use, I'm wearing my wrong glasses. Okay, there we go. I knew something was wrong. We're definitely going to use some white charcoal, some brushes, and the side conversation is going to be what is more important? Is it more important to be able to draw accurately, or is it more important to draw creatively and just draw and not worry so much about the accuracy? We'll talk about that in this live stream, and if anybody has any questions regarding that, I'd be more than happy to help you. Now, it is pumpkin spice latte time, but I've got my rain, or what is that, an elk or a moose? Got my moose mug here with my coffee that I just made, so 1 second. Okie dokie. So let's get started, because I don't want to bore you to death, and yeah, that's not cool that I'm talking too much, but I just want to kind of lay the framework for this live stream. So it's funny, because to my left I have this ginormous window, right? It's definitely ginormous, and at different times of the year, I get different amounts of sunlight coming in, and at this, like, the seasons are rapidly changing here, and the sun is just at a different place, so you can see the sun over my shoulder. It's great because I get a lot of natural light in my studio, but it's also a little funky because there's so much glare right now around my studio, and I've got light everywhere, so I kind of feel like I'm looking into the sun, even though I'm not looking into the sun. But yeah, it's pretty bright in here right now. And okay, so I guess we got to start drawing. So let me switch cameras here, and let's go. So I'm thinking, Ed. Okay, Ed. Thank you. I think it's Eldeberto Costa, but I'll call you Ed. I like that. I know you just joined. Listen, Ed, you just joined the website DTO, and you uploaded your drawing like a couple of hours after I finished last week's video critique, and I'm like, oh no, now Ed's gonna wait a week for the critique, which kind of stinks. So I usually critique while teaching at SVA, sometimes Monday afternoon, sometimes Tuesday mornings. So yeah, I'm sorry you had to wait so long. Okay, let's get to this, and I'm probably going to film that tomorrow. So I need to move my microphone. Now, this is the statue, okay? And I found this statue. The image is on the posts on YouTube on my channel. So if you click on posts, you'll see the image. And like I said, I have my curriculum all laid out for my students at the School of Visual Arts, as well as my students on Drawing Tutorials Online. But here on YouTube, sometimes at the last minute pick something that I'm just into drawing, and so this is the flavor of the day here, and I'm looking forward to doing something different. Now, in today's class, I am so not going to worry about like exactness with all these folds and the drapery, and I still haven't decided if I'm going to do full figure. Maybe we'll start full figure. I've cropped it in. That would be really nice too. And this one is pretty cropped. I don't know if I want to do, like, I don't know if I want to turn this into, hey Kid Lion, I don't know if I want to turn this into like another portrait. I think I kind of want to do more of the full figure here, but let's see. Now, when I look at this, man, it's pretty small. Okay, let me just do one thing here. Let me make my reference a little bit bigger. Okay, now, terracotta. Now, there's always, when you do these live classes, when you do these videos, the world is always out to get you. So all of a sudden, the town is outside now cutting and trimming trees. And I live in a really beautiful neighborhood, and there are some people who trim their trees, like me, to maintain them, and some who just let everything go wild. So there's a lot of trimming going on outside, so I'm just like totally distracted. I don't want anybody like coming on my front lawn and trimming stuff. Okay, so I need to make sure that I can see where I'm drawing. So I'm putting the top, and this looks like it's going to break. And the other thing is my 19-year-old son is off today, and he's in the driveway. The garage is right underneath my studio here, and he's in the driveway making all sorts of noises. So it's just a good, fun-filled distraction day. So I've got to put my blinders on and just kind of draw. Okay, so let's do it. Let's see how I could do this under the distraction mode. And already this is too short. Now just I want to show you my live area. And my live area, that's short. That's only 8 inches, right? Only 8 inches. But maybe I'll draw a little bit smaller today because it's not just a drawing class. And I'm actually going to zoom out a touch because I do have the space. Okay, one more swig of coffee, and we are going to draw this statue. Okay, so I'm going to start with the tops of the shoulders to make sure that I have room for the head. Now, I should start, I'm kind of starting centered in the paper. So I'm just looking at shoulders right now. Do I have enough room for the head? Yeah, that's cool. Maybe I'll go a little bit lower. And one thing I notice about this tone tan with the tone gray paper, like it likes to buckle. And I'm already seeing that it's kind of buckling on me. So I like to start with shoulders. And then from the right side, oh God, this is so light on YouTube. My God, I need to make this happen quickly. I'm going to lose y'all. Okay, so I'm going to cruise on down all the way to the statue's, the right side, all the way to that foot. That's my first line, okay? And I'm going to say the foot is there. And then I'm going to go across to the other foot. Now, hopefully you can see the feet on this terracotta statue. So I'm going more gestural with this today. So now I'm going to go maybe a little bit smaller with the chest width, okay, right about here. And then all of a sudden, this little terracotta statue's hips jut out like that. So we're jutting out, okay, and now I'm looking at the waist area a little bit. It can jut out more, it can jut out less. It could be a little bit longer, okay, and now this tapers in. So what are we doing here, people? We're drawing with big macro angles, okay? Now, I get you. I'm going to lose you all. That's the bad thing about using mixed media on YouTube, because this is probably so light, that you can't even see it. Now, I do have my grayscale. I'm going to maybe put my grayscale down here so the camera just has something else to kind of focus on. And yeah, let's draw the arm kind of tilted like that. And now this suggestion of the head And oh, big truck outside. Big truck outside. Okay, so I'm gonna draw. Yeah, don't panic. That is so funny. Yeah, I mean, when you see the people from the town outside, it's like, okay, do I need to be worried? Do I need to be worried? Are they gonna like drive their big truck on my beautiful front lawn? And yeah, it's a little distracting, and because it just is. So I'm gonna just ignore it. Yes, I'm gonna ignore it. Okay, people, listen to me. That is our initial go through. So that is what I've decided is going to be the size of the drawing here today. So now what I can do is I can zoom in, and I'm just going to perhaps make it so I can get this as big as possible on the screen by adjusting where the paper is. And I just want to make sure that my paper is square to my drawing table, which is my Cintiq screen. So, okay, and it's close enough. It's close enough for this drawing. Now, what I need to do, now that I have that kind of sketch, how big is the drawing today? How big is the drawing? So in total, it is 7 5/8, right? I blocked out all of my background noise to hear what Matt has to say, laugh out loud, because I'm not always with his mouth in his mic. Oh my God, yeah, I need to keep the mouth near the microphone. All right, now I'm holding the mic near my mouth, Elizabeth. So let's do this. So now I don't want to press down hard just yet. I don't want to. Like if I was drawing this on my own in my studio and it wasn't a live stream, I wouldn't be pressing down this hard on the microphone. So on the not on the microphone, on the pencil so soon. Yes, absolutely. But I have to commit like a little bit sooner, and I do this in the classroom as well, where when I have all my students watching me do the demonstrations, like you just got to make it happen very, very quickly. Like there's no light to dark stuff, and everything. If you like talk about that, everything that you do is just practice. You kind of don't really care that much, and you don't become so attached to your image. Now, I'm going to do my first like little measurement here, like what's across from the hip, and then this like little kick in over here. Yeah, they are. So just skip them, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come on down. I do have it on conservative, very conservative. Now I'm looking at this width. Okay, I'm looking at this width, and so I'm just doing a site size. Now, we're going to get into that conversation shortly here as to what is more important to be able to draw accurately or to be able to draw creatively. And I've got some good things for you to ponder with all of that. Oh, some of them are not skippable. Okay, interesting. That's weird. They should be skippable. I think there's different parameters for like the live stream. Than like a regular YouTube video. So look, people, do you see what I'm doing here? I've made the executive decision that this is the bottom of the foot. Now, now we're talking about accuracy. So I don't know how accuracy this drawing is right now. I really don't. I'm just drawing and I'm sketching as quickly as I can so you can see what I'm doing. But I did my big macro angles. And when you draw the big macro angles, don't worry so much about making them perfect. Let me get another swig of coffee here, okay, before it gets really cold. Yes. So I do the big macro angles first, and then I came on in down on the right side, and I used micro angles to try to figure it out. And now I'm starting to press down a little bit harder with that, and now I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm asking myself the question, which foot is lower on the statue, this one or this one? And I'm going to say this one's higher, this one's lower. So I'll adjust now my macro angle at the back, okay? Okie dokie. So now what I'm going to do is just start all over again. I'm going to start back up at the top, and I want to maybe consider using some shadows, because didn't we do that last week? We drew with just shadow, and we started the drawing with no lines and just tone, and I really love that. As a matter of fact, I almost wanted to do that again. And I like, okay, fine. We started with an outline today. So now what I'm going to do, if you can just indulge me here for a second, since I'm making the decision that this is going to be the bottom of the drawing, I want to zoom in as much as I possibly can for you here on YouTube. I think it's just a better visual experience when I'm zoomed in as close as I can to the drawing. So if you just bear with me, I'm going to zoom in again. Okay, and it just takes me a second to do this. I'd rather you see this like a little bit bigger. Okay, better. Now, so the town is across at my neighbor across the street, which he does nothing to his front yard in terms of the trees. And yes, okay, got you, Elizabeth. Thank you so much. And so they're at his house. They'll be at his house for a little while. Now, all right, so what have we done here so far? We've done our macro angles. We've done some micro angles. We started with the shadow. So now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to start to consider separating fabric. So I don't really like doing horizontal lines across the body like this, but I'm going to suggest like a light one. So maybe we're just going to call this like the top of the clothing up until the bottom of the breasts, we're going to say. Okay. And then I've got this kind of bottom of the breast somewhere over here. It angles in, and then I'm going to loop down with the fabric, and then the fabric rolls in and around the lower ab right there. I'm going to call this the lower abs, where I'm pointing my pencil. Okay. And then we've got this other piece of fabric, and maybe that's like a little bit too long there, and it juts in from here. So I'm really liking the vibe of the terracotta. I always love the vibe of the terracotta on this toned tan paper. The issue with it on YouTube is just that it's a little too light middle tone. It's a very, very hard pencil, this terracotta pencil. So now I've gone across with like a broken line. So I'm drawing different shapes of fabric, and then I can come in and perhaps make this angle in a wee bit more. Okay, and then it curves. All right, now I need to get this statue's leg. So I'm going to start back up top over here with a vertical fold of fabric that comes down like that. Press down a little bit harder. I'm not worried a ton about accuracy. Like, I'm just kind of going for the big picture. So now this comes into the inside of the knee. It curves in, and this is very gestural right here. Okay. And this microphone, like I said, if I move my voice over here, you can't hear me. If I move my voice over here, you can hear me. And it's annoying. I get you. It's annoying. But right now, my dogs are like going crazy barking at the people outside. And they're using like a chainsaw outside. So this is where this sort of microphone, if anybody on here is a YouTuber and you make your own videos, this is where this microphone is worth its weight in gold. And if I could just remember to always keep my mouth very close to the microphone, there is no problem with it, because this is like, it's gold. It doesn't pick up any background noise whatsoever. And that's why I like this microphone so very much. I do plan on getting a new Shure mic, but there's no rush for that right now. I want to be able to have the option of pulling my head away from the microphone a little bit, and I can't really adjust the gain on this one. So, okay, too much information about the microphone. So now I'm going to add a little bit of tone here, okay? But it's a godsend with noise and distractions. A little bit of tone. And so, all right. This is like a mixture. I'm going to lift my paper one more time. Make sure you can see the bottoms of the feet. This is a mixture, everybody, of line and tone, which is ultimately the way that I really love to draw. 1 second. Okay, I'm going to resharpen this pencil, and I need to do a little bit of the head now. So I'm going to go to, I'm looking at the distance from the bottom of the breast to the top of the shoulder. Okay, I'm going to just try to establish a little bit more of a definitive edge right over there. And then, oh, I see. This shoulder is slightly higher because this arm is angled down, and it's the chipped arm. And I love these. I love drawing these little small little statues. They're all over the mat. They're so much fun to draw. Now, the neck is not that long on this side. I'm looking at the negative space, and this is tiny. My photo reference is tiny right now, and it's tiny there. But what you've got to, and I'll zoom in, I promise you. What you've got to look at is you've got to look at where the bottom of the hair is to the top of the shoulder, which is really, really difficult to see. And so, yes, now angle of the hair. Let's look at this neck side. And I'm going to angle up, and that is a little bun at the top. So I'm going to leave it just like that. I'm somewhat pleased with that, and I don't want to get my head in the video here. Thank you, Dagu or Dagui. That's a tough one. I'm going to say Dag. So now, everybody, I'm going to start once again the same way. So I'm going to start here, and oh, we've got Truffles in the house, and Truffles just jumped off her little chair because our chainsaw friends are coming a little bit. Yeah, someone's out to get us with a chainsaw outside. And okay, underbelly of the breast, fabric curving down. Let me grab Truffs for a second. One second. Let me. Hey, Phoenix. Let's let Truff say hello to everybody. Let me just switch my camera. Oh, hey, Truffs. Oh, you're a heavy girl. You want to say hello to everybody? You want to talk into the mic? Okay, say goodbye, Truffs. You're going back on your chair, girl. Okay, hold on. Okay, so that was a pretty fun like first go through with this statue. Yeah, God. Yeah, God. It is. I think it might be an electric chainsaw. I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the cropped part of this so you can see a little bit more detail because this image is just I love this kind of stuff with all of this detail. And as a matter of fact, let me do that on my image too. I'm gonna just zoom in. Oh no, that's full body. There we go. This is like a 3/4 zoom in right here. And maybe what I'll do is I'll zoom in a little bit on the drawing also. I'm going to just try to work on the chest. Hey, Carmela. Yeah, it's really good for practicing folds. Yeah, I know, doesn't it? I just think that's the way that it's sculpted. Or who knows? You know, you never know if they find these statues like in pieces and they put them back together. I don't know the whole thing on that, but that yeah, there are like the Met has so many like broken pieces of like statues, especially like in the Egyptian I can't talk today Egyptian wing. So let's do some folds. And again, listen, everybody. So now let's get into our conversation about what the video title is about as I just kind of get into this and try to draw. So the conversation, and I think Aura is here. Yes, Aura is here today. And Aura likes to do both. Like definitely likes to draw accurately, but then not be like so tied and bound to the accuracy thing. For me personally, and I repeat myself all the time, you know, I used to paint book covers, and accuracy for me was how and why I got paid. So if there was, if I had to do like a picture book as an illustrator, I desperately needed to be able to paint the main character looking the same way in every pose. And if like there's a picture book with a character, right? And on one page the character has a long face, on the next page the character has like a round face, on one page the character's eyes look really dark, on the next page they look like mid-tone, like the publishing company would never hire me again to illustrate like a book. So like like accuracy for me was always first on my mind with everything that I ever did as an illustrator, just because you're the person who's buying the book is connected with the character, and if you can't accurately draw the character on every illustration that you draw, that's no good. So accuracy was part of like my bread and butter of earning a living as an illustrator. See, my measurements are already messed up on the fabric, but I don't really care. Hey, Elijah, welcome. Kiss you, hello. And Kelly, welcome, welcome. I don't know if I, yes. Yeah, welcome everybody. Thuns. Okay, cool. We've got more people in the house here today. Awesome, awesome. So, yeah, I don't know how I'm not being accurate at all on this. So, getting back to that conversation. So, just to give you like a little setup, for me, accuracy was important. And then just for my own gratification, forget about like being an illustrator and forget about having to illustrate characters like in a book, or if it was like an educational magazine with like an article, and the article was like 4 pages like in a magazine, and yeah, I would have to do multiple illustrations for that magazine, and the accuracy factor would just have to be there with the characters. So it was important. And then I got hired for like side jobs aside from like book covers, where they were for educational magazines, and it was of like portraits of celebrities or portraits of historical people. And so like that was easy work for me. It was just like black and white work. And I would have to be able to draw accurately. But for you, you just need to make a decision, like why are you doing these drawings, and like what is the gratification factor for you? Like why do you like to do accuracy versus why do you like to just be creative and not really worry about the accuracy part? And if you can kind of be clear on that, I think that's going to really aid in the gratification part of like you drawing. And I think that's really important. And I think if you're clear on so there's 2 different ways to think about this. There is your body of work, right? Like your portfolio. And how do you want to present your portfolio? Do you want to present a consistent portfolio that is all about accuracy? Or do you want to have a consistent body of work that you don't really care about accuracy, and that's what you're showing from the get-go? So I usually say to students when they ask me about style and all of that type of stuff, I say, well, most important thing is your body of work. Like you make your decisions on that hierarchy, and the hierarchy is when you like that. I started creating like a Google Drive for my prospective students who do like prospective backgrounds. And so we can look at their body of work as the semester goes on, and we can look for trends. And I think that is ginormously important. And that's like a hierarchy thing. Like, how do I want my body of work? I don't want to do like a couple of images that are accurate and then some that are just more creative and not so much of a focus on accuracy. I recommend to people that your body of work should just be very, very consistent because it's your brand, and that is important. Now, there's new philosophies that state otherwise, but I'm just giving you my take, and you can disagree with it, and that's fine. I'm giving you my take on what helped me as an illustrator, and what helped me was having an extremely consistent portfolio, and my portfolio was about realism and accuracy, and that really, really, really helped. Um, okay, so I got an ad myself, and I'm skipping it, so it was like 3 seconds. Hi, Kelly. I don't know how fun this is for you to watch me do this, but I really liked your last homework assignment. I thought it was great, and I hope you're having fun in that class. It seems like you, Elijah, and Sammy sitting in that spot. You seem to be having like a fun time there. It's funny because you and Elijah sat very close to each other in foundation drawing, but Sammy was on the other side of the universe. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see the three of you sitting together like that. I noticed, Kelly, in your class, there's lots of cliques. So there's a bunch of like three students who sit together. And then, yeah, so I'm noticing the dynamic of that class. Every class has that. Every class has that. It's fun. Okay, so I'm going to kick this foot out to the left, and that's my go-through. That's my go-through. How would you integrate a mechanical pencil into your workflow? So I use God. That's a you just got me. That question like was so out of left field. And so for me, my mechanical pencils, which I love my mechanical pencils, and I've drawn with them. I probably drew with a mechanical pencil for like 10 years straight. This one's my favorite right now. I found it in the classroom. I kept asking students, like, whose is this? Hey, Travis, welcome. I'm doing okay, doing okay. I'll let you know at the end of the live stream if I like the drawing. So I love this pencil so much. It's awesome. But I don't really use the mechanical pencil that much anymore. But for like 10 years in a row, from like 1990 to roughly 2000, I used it for everything because I drew very small for my sketches to put them into a fax machine mid-90s. I worked on 8.5 by 11 copy paper, and so that really, really worked for me. But then I started teaching life drawing, and I'm like, this is insane. Like, I'm trying to teach life drawing, and I'm using mechanical pencil. This is silly. And then I started using, getting more into gesture drawing in the animation department. And if you work tiny, you could do gesture drawing with a mechanical pencil, but is it ideal? No. So how would I incorporate it into my workflow? I would use it if I did small sketches for clients, and I would use it on the go in my sketchbook, so I don't have to carry around like a pencil sharpener. So there's a lot of great applications for that. Okay. So, yeah, I love mechanical pencils, and Kelly has the really good lead, and it's not lead, it's a colored pencil, but we just call it lead because it's the default. So now, all right, I want this to be, I said mixed media. So we're using tone tan paper, right? And I'm drawing, and I'm too zoomed in, and you're not seeing what I'm doing. So now I want to use maybe a brown pencil, okay? So let me show you what I got here. I've got, I'm using terracotta. I think I'm going to try Tuscan red. And I want to layer Tuscan. I haven't used this pencil in years, people. Okay, let's try it. And no testing. We're just going for it. So I want to go, because the terracotta is great. but it doesn't go that dark, and that is not great for YouTube. So this has a different feel to it. Yeah, it's a beautiful statue. It's thank you, Kid Lion. Back to work. Got you. Um, Lenny. Hello, Lenny. Yeah, it's a pretty good statue. Like I liked it immediately when I saw it, and I want to just try to be a little bit looser now. So I'm just gonna scribble in some tone, and these folds. So okay, folds. Let's talk about this fold thing. Um, yes, vertical, vertical, and I'm gonna just put some dark over here. Uh, Yep, I this pencil feels different. Now, I talk about these Colorace pencils when they get old. They they feel different when they get old. This pencil just has a totally different feel. Terracotta, Tuscan red. It doesn't even look red to me. Um, Interesting, but I'm just trying to get some darks in, and I don't want to just use the black Colorace pencil all the time. So I'm trying something different here for you. This is pretty dark. My drawing's off. And I'm just kind of trying to draw a little bit faster now. So I'm not going so slow. Now, the other thing with the whole creativity versus style is versus realism. I really do think that drawing in more of like that accurate way just kind of stifles people, and it causes a little bit of anxiety that if they don't draw like 100% accurately, like they failed, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Like like I think the accuracy thing is really important. Like when it, let me zoom out because I'm all over the drawing. I'm trying to work the whole drawing at once. Okay, let me just get a little coffee. So that's the other thing about the whole accuracy equation. Like it just stifles people, and they get like frustrated, and that's not good either. Like yeah, that's where sometimes you just want to not care and just draw and don't worry about being so accurate. Um, Matt, is there any way to cure the lead of a pencil? I bought a pencil, and I guess the whole lead came broken. No, I don't know. Like that, what why does that happen? Well, because the people at the art supply store are very rough with the materials, and certain pencils, if they're dropped, oh, big truck. Okay, hold on. Oh boy. Certain art supply stores, like if the people like stocking the shelves are rough with the pencils and they drop, like there are certain pencils, like an ebony pencil, like if that thing drops on the floor, it's over. Like it just keeps it cracks, the graphite cracks in the wood shaft, and then every time you go to sharpen that pencil, it breaks. And there's nothing more frustrating than that. And then the other frustrating thing, I get it, is this barcode thing. I get it. It's the nature of the beast. It's the times that we live in. They gotta document everything that they sell. But at least they put it towards the end, like not where it you put your fingers here. So that's like a good thing. So now, okay, so that's all I'm doing with the dark for now. And so listen, I have to get new. I'm trying to talk into the microphone, Elizabeth, as I turn my head. I need to get like a new blend-in stump because this thing has got the graphite all over it. And if I start to use this now on this, I don't think that's gonna yeah, I don't think that that's going to affect this drawing at all. But let me take my knife, and I just want to see if I can't sharpen this thing and get rid of. I can sharpen it. It's just making a huge mess. Okay, cool. All right. Oh, that made a huge mess. Okay. Let me just get the tip off, and I'm going to let Truffs out of my office because she's going crazy. 1 second. And I just need to send a text to somebody. Okay, 1 second, people. Thank you for your patience with that. I just had to send a very important text. Okay. So I sharpened my blending stump. And so now what I'm going to do is experiment with this by pushing this into the paper. Wow, that blended way too easily. Oh my God, that really blended. I don't know if I like that. I'm experimenting here on live. Okay. Oh, the sandpaper thing. Yeah, I actually have one right here. I never even thought about using that. I appreciate that. I think that would make a disaster. Oh God, I'm doing it right now. It's not that bad. It's not that bad, actually. Okay, I appreciate that tip. That's a good tip. I never really thought about using the sandpaper too much, just because it does make like a dust bowl. Um, all right, so so now we just went painterly. So I'm just experimenting right now on YouTube, and let's just see what happens. So I'm gonna just push some of this into the paper. Yes. Okay, so what that does is, and I don't love that Tuscan red pencil at all. What that does is it just makes it more painterly. Definitely, it makes it more painterly when you use the blend-in stump and less linear. So now I'm going to play with the white charcoal, okay, because there's a lot of white on this statue. And I'm just going to put the white charcoal in a little bit. And then we're going to use the brush and try to, and this covers this pencil easily. That's why I like using these pencils, because they play really nice together with the white charcoal, most definitely. Now, this terracotta statue is very, very pitted. And so let me do this. Let me zoom in a little bit here. Let me go to at least this one. And so you can see, and then I'm going to zoom in a little bit on my drawing. Yeah, I'm not too worried about the head right now. I'm going to just focus in on this part. I can't even see it, the detail, when I look at it small. So I'm not overdoing the white charcoal. I'm like suggesting it a little bit because I'm going to brush it out. And I also do want that um, beige paper to show through. That's part of the drawing, the beige paper. I can literally see it on the photo. So I'm just kind of having fun here with this. and I'm not worried about. I am so not worried about copying this exactly. It's not a concern of mine. Um, Now, you know me, I've got certain brushes for just the white, and I'm just going to push the white into the paper a little bit. And I'm just curious to see how that looks. And doesn't look anything great. I'm not in love with it. But I guess this is one of those drawings that's is a learning experience for me because just feeling how everything is working together. I mean, I use these materials all the time on with the black color erase and the gray paper, but this is interesting with all these different colors and paper combo platter. Yes. Okay, let me just. Carmela, it right now the reference is not on the website because I just found it this morning, but I will put it on the website after the live stream. If you on the YouTube channel go to posts, like just go to my YouTube channel and it says posts, and click on the post, and I've got it on the post. Okay. So I'm here to say that I don't like combining the Tuscan red with the terracotta. I don't. That's not working for me right now. I'm fighting through it. The reason why it's not working is because the Tuscan red, let's just call it colored pencil pigment, has a different vibe to it than this Tuscan red is actually like perfect. Um, okay, going a little darker here. A little darker here. And now that I'm looking at this, I always say to myself, my God, I think I bit off more than I can chew for a live stream drawing. But that's the beauty of not worrying so much about the accuracy thing, is that you just draw and you just kind of like make it happen. And you don't worry so very much about the accuracy thing versus just trying to create like a beautiful drawing. Just putting the gray paper down for a second. So what I just need to do is I just need to like draw more with the terracotta and not worry so much about the different materials and just try to get this thing to feel to my liking. I guess that's what we're going to say. So the basics, like I need to make sure that I've got some good edges. I need to make sure that I have some light and shade. I need to make sure that I have some abstract shapes in here. And I need to make sure that I have some form lines that flow around the fabric and around the statue's body. These are the basics for me in terms of making this look good visually and not necessarily accurately. The best way to improve your art skills is to that's another really loaded question that doesn't have one answer. But I would say this. I would just give you a different answer here today. Don't try to learn everything all at once. Like, don't jump where you're going to be doing one day you're going to be doing like digital painting, and then the next day you're going to be doing charcoal, and then the next day you're going to be trying to master figure drawing, and then the next day you're doing landscapes, and then the next day you're doing something completely different. Like I really do believe that it's important for you to stick with one topic and just stick with that topic for long enough to gain a little bit of traction. And so for me, the topic that I would start with is the Bridgman book, the George Bridgman. And I really like Bridgman drawings, and I would copy some of Bridgman drawings. And then I would focus on the figure with the Bridgman method in mind. And then I would just try to draw some figures, and then I would stick with the figurative mindset. And then after that, what I would do is I would start to do some zero in on the parts of the figure with the more detail. So how to draw the head. Then after you've done that for a little while, how to draw hands, how to draw feet. So in essence, what you're doing is you're really sticking with the figure, okay? And people, how to draw people before you start to, and just do it with a pencil. Don't like jump from all these different mediums, and don't like get too enamored with like the art student trap of constantly using new art materials every single week where you never become an expert with one. I'm not saying that it's bad to experiment, but what I am saying is that people over experiment and they never gain traction with one material. Yeah, this doesn't have any tooth to it, Neil, this paper. Yes, thank you, Carmela. Appreciate that. So I'm going to go to the next picture, the full one again. And just so I can come on down with some gestural lines. Want to keep this fairly light here, fairly loose. I'm not copying everything that I see exactly. That is not what this is about. Just trying to draw this little foot. And, oh, I see, this kicks out. Okay. So I'm doing some stuff accurate and some I don't care. Okay, so let's come back over here. And the other thing about this terracotta pencil is when you press down hard on it, it's pretty saturated, right? And some people don't like that. So the darker you go with it, the more saturated it becomes. That's another thing with this pencil. I don't mind it. It gets to be like a little much for me with the blue pencil, like when I use the blue pencil, which I love that. But when I start to go like a little darker with the blue pencil, it really gets saturated. So the cool thing about using the brush is that it just lays a nice soft foundation for you to draw on top of. So I'm looking at the negative space between the foot and the fabric. And is this? No, this is not on the camera. Damn it. Okay. Okay. Let's keep it like that for a little while. And just kind of trying to put some pencil down here on the paper, make things look a little bit darker. And I think this piece of fabric in the foreground in the center comes the lowest. And it's very cylindrical-like. And it's pretty close to the left foot, the left side of the drawing, that foot, I should say, the right statue's right. Whoops. Ooh, I need to sharpen this thing. It's getting a little dull. All right, cool. I'm just trying to sketch now and be loose with this and not tight. Just I'm moving around the entire drawing. I'm not getting locked in to worrying about like one little section. And okay, I forgot about this little fold here in the center. That's a cool one. Curves around. Nice. And this feels way too straight, so I want to curve that. Now, keep your lights light. Keep your shadows shadowy. I don't want to go too dark with some of these folds because they're in the light. Something I talk about a lot. I don't know how successful I am with that right now, but okay, so this is darker on that side. just long pencil strokes downward. Yes. Cool. For the first time, I'm going to try the mono zero eraser. See how it erases out the Tuscan terracotta. It erases out perfectly. Good. That was easy. That worked well. Okay, cool. Yeah, I definitely like the terracotta better than that. Tuscan red. Tuscan red, it's a very, very cool brown pencil. Okay. Let me just look at some of this chat here. Yeah, the dogs went a little crazy a couple minutes ago, but now they're out of my office, so it's all good. The coast is clear. The coast is clear. All right, all right. I'm gonna do a little cast shadow down over here. Just make sure that this statue is grounded. Cool. Excellent. And let me just add a couple more. These what we're drawing right here, they're just cylinders. So the way that we're representing the cylinder is with this downward pencil stroke. Downward pencil stroke, downward pencil stroke. I am so not copying all of these exactly. There's just, I don't want to focus that hard this morning on each individual placement of each individual fold. I think that would sap the fun out of it for me. I just kind of want to do a pretty little sketch here today for you. Yeah, so does anybody have any questions on the accuracy versus creative side of doing things, or what are your thoughts on it? Okay, I'm going to go back to the white pencil. Here we are. Let me just resharpen. Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. So this is funky texture. Oh, my God. Very funky texture. So I'm going to be doing a bunch of different, like, pencil stroke direction. Creativity. Creativity is that's another. You're getting me today, Batman, with these questions. So what I find is you creativity comes from me in my compositions. Like, so let's say I'm working on a scene. It's a landscape, and I want to bring the viewer on a journey through the landscape visually. That's where I'll get creative with combining perspective with maybe some long cast shadows that direct the viewer's eye through the landscape. And so for me, that's how I'm creative. And so creativity for me always came in composition and how I would compose the image. That was my number one thing, because I used to work in the book cover industry, painting book covers, and you're dealing with a tall rectangle. And like the creativity with a tall rectangle, like you don't have the options of doing a horizontal book cover. There's really no such thing in the paperback market back in the day. So everything was in that rectangular format. So I really had to try to be somewhat creative to come up with new, interesting book cover designs in that tall rectangular format with just like pretty much one character on the book cover, maybe 2, 3 tops, but it was usually 1, maybe 2, right? So that's where I would be creative, but other people with their images, they're creative a little bit more in different ways. So they're creative more with the storytelling. So other people are very, very creative with the color. For me, my creativity always came with composition and how I'm going to compose the image, and where and how am I going to get the viewer to look first, second, and third. Now, there's different types of art. Like you're a sculptor, and maybe you want to be creative with the poses. And then there's painters like Roberto Ferri, and he uses a lot of creativity from his imagination in terms of, to me, it's almost like dreamscape type images. And so creativity comes in many, many different forms. You just need to know what that is, which form it's going to take. Yes. And the other thing is just know who your art role models are. And your role models, the people that you actually really like their artwork. And if you look at the people that you follow maybe on Instagram and look for trends. Why are you following these people? Like, what do you like about their stuff? And that will always help you in the creativity department, because you'll start to look for like trends of what attracts your eye and what interests you. Absolutely. Um, I'm going to try this blending stump. I don't care that there's color erase on it and graphite, because it's such a small thing, and I'm using it for like also like a gray texture. Yeah, because there's some gray on this statue, no doubt. I'm drawing with it a little bit. So this is where having the graphite on this thing isn't the worst thing in the world from like last week. Although I wouldn't want to use this tortillion now on a drawing that I'm doing all in black, because now it has the terracotta on it. So that would be a bad thing in my book. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out and get the full. Oh, I am full there. Let's just zoom out. Um, oh yeah. So I'm just gonna use some long strokes here, and I'll do that first, and then long stroke, and then I'll do the texture on top of like the long stroke. So you're kind of almost like doing this in layers. Um, when I was super young, I'm talking like grade school, uh, and junior high, it was definitely a wildlife painter called Robert Bateman, 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 and that's how I really got into wanting to be a painter, by looking at Robert Bateman's wildlife paintings. And so, and then when I was in college, I had different role models. Um, I guess the biggest one is an artist called John. It's Gean Leon, Leon, John Leon Jerome. And so I could say that that is my biggest role model for the painting side of things. Back in the day, it was a lot of illustrators. Definitely, I was really enamored with a lot of modern illustrators, historical illustrators like Maxfield Parrish. And so the common theme with all of these people is painting in a realistic sort of way. Now, you can also paint realistically and not be accurate with what you paint realistically. Like, that's a whole nother can of worms right there. Now, I think I want to see what it's like if I do a little background tone over here. Little reverse gradation. I'm scribbling right now. Yeah, I just want to see, in order to have light, you must have dark. That's a mantra that I have my students kind of hopefully say when they're doing their homework. Just going to resharpen this. Okay, and I am going to outline this because I like it. It just works for me. It's not necessarily like a painterly way, like the way that we drew last week. There were no outlines. It was just a tone next to a tone. And I think it's very valuable when teachers understand that one is not right and one is not wrong. They're just different. And it's up to the individual artist to really figure out what they like. Do I like to do tone next to tone, or do I like to do tone and line? Oh yeah, Jake, Robert Bateman. Some of the I I still have the book. Like I had an awesome Robert Bateman book that I got years and years and years ago, and then I was very fortunate that my aunt Jackie used to visit every weekend or every 2 weeks, and my aunt Jackie had wildlife magazines, and she used to just like drop them off at our house. I guess she wanted to recycle them so we could look at them. And this was, I'm talking like late 70s, early 80s. And I used to look at those wildlife magazines, and they were loaded with wildlife paintings. And they weren't always Bateman. I mean, they were other wildlife painters in there as well. And then I remember buying a wildlife painter book, bunch of different wildlife painters in there, which was an incredible book. I don't even think I have that book anymore. But yeah, so I was really very much influenced by Bateman because Bateman was really clear on what he wanted to do. He didn't want to draw people, he wanted to draw animals. And I like using that as like a role model for when I teach career stuff for the younger students in my classes. When we talk about career, I think it's really, really important for you to have a certain subject matter that you focus on. I don't think that is the answer for everybody, but it's the answer for a lot of people where you just focus in on one subject matter. And for Bateman, it was wildlife. And that became like his mission and his cause for the hierarchy of why he did his artwork, to really try to promote a better environment for the wildlife and sustainability and all that type of stuff. So yeah, that was his mission. And the side note was that he just loved to paint and draw. So I mean, it's cool when you can do what you love and then also have a mission behind it and a purpose. And that's not easy for everybody to figure out. No, it is not. That's right, Lenny. So, Lenny, you have a really great answer and solution for the topic of the day. So, what Lenny Danger wrote was, I think my term on accuracy and creativity is that accuracy is important, but creativity brings the drawing to life. Yeah, that's it. So like that is the best answer right there. So I don't have all the answers, so that's why I like to do these live streams, and it's good to get your take on everything as well. So Lenny, I hope well, I hope that everyone got something from what Lenny just wrote there. I think that's like genius. And I think that is really the whole point, is that you don't want to like okay, so right now I'm kind of copying what I see. So how would I make it my own? How would I make it my own? And that's where the creativity comes into play. And then the other hierarchical piece of the puzzle is, what do you get your enjoyment from? So I kind of get my enjoyment more from the actual drawing process, not necessarily like trying to make this my own. and make it like as creative as I can. Like I don't really get the enjoyment from that. I just like more of the meditative process of drawing. And so that's where I get my enjoyment from. So that's another thing for y'all to take into consideration. Like, why are you doing your drawing? Where do you get the enjoyment from? Maybe you do ultimately get the enjoyment from trying to make this your own and putting your own twist on this like little statue. And that would be like for members of the website, drawingtutorialsonline.com, maybe you could do that. Maybe you can work on this drawing and then post it in the critique gallery tomorrow, not today, because I've got to finish last week's critiques. And yeah, maybe try to do something like a little creative with it. That's awesome, Lenny. Thank you. Yeah, you could definitely use different light and shade to work and maybe even change the lighting around a little bit. You can add a darker background to make the parts of the statue pop a little bit more. Your background tone could have rhythm to it. Right now, mine doesn't really have any rhythm to it. It's just next to the hip, which is not the most creative thing in the world, but I don't hate it. Okay, let me fix this thing. 1 second. So, yeah, you got it, Lenny. Yeah, just kind of do your own thing, and like I said, for me, it's always not so much the creative process, but the meditative process of just sitting down and drawing. That's all. Now, when it comes to the figure drawing, live drawings, that's like a little bit different for me. I always, when I'm drawing the model in class, I'm always striving for accuracy. And I'm striving for accuracy with speed. And that's a challenge, right? Accuracy and speed. And I think that's one of the most challenging things. And so that is always my main goal. And my other main goal for life drawing is anatomical accuracy and understanding what I'm actually drawing, right? That's very important for me as well. Okay, so I think this drawing is like a gazillion miles away from my head, and I want to work a little bit on the portrait because I've neglected that. And so let me do this. I'm going to drop, oops. I'm going to drop my piece of paper so the head is closer to my eyes. 1 second, I'm just moving my keyboard. Oops. Okay. 1 second, I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to go there. Okay, 1 second. Okay, let's focus in on this face a little bit. I think I got to get up soon. I've been sitting down for like for an hour, and yeah, I definitely got to get up soon. Let me just get another piece of tape and tape this down a little bit more. It's starting to come up off of the board. Okay. Now we've got this angle of the neck. This side of the neck feels very tall. And what is right below the head? That's the question. So the center of the neck is kind of right where this dark is, at the bottom center of the fabric. Okay. So I'm pleased with it. I'm not going to worry about perfection there. So I'm just looking at the bottom of the hair to the top of the shoulder. And now I'm going to do my line. Let's get the chin area, bottom of the head. I've already kind of established the shadow side, but I want to get the edge kind of fleshed out. We've got another strand of hair, clump of hair, maybe is the better term. And this kind of comes up. It almost looks like a beehive from the 50s. I guess it's true what they say. Everything repeats itself. Okay, now let's do shape of hair, shape of face. So the face is very small, hair is very big. And forehead, eye socket, cheek. I'm not copying the values. I'm just trying to get an outline so you can actually see what the heck I'm even doing. And then there's the eye socket on the bridge of the nose, which is a little darker. This is tiny, people. And then we have an eye socket over here. Yes, and a little shadow shape here. There's like a ball thing here. It's a little higher up. Another sphere-like shape here. And another one over here. I might have drawn them a little too big, and that's okay right now. And I'm going to make this side of the statue all a little bit darker there. Just visually, I think that would be better. And that's another reason why you don't need to be accurate with everything. You could, like, there's a thing with values, and I have a class, like we were working on this last week in class, so everything's a little bit more, like I said in the beginning of the video, everything's like a little bit more structured in my formal classes. And so we were talking about last Wednesday about matching values versus manipulating the values that you see. And you manipulate the values for a multitude of reasons, but one of the most powerful reasons why you would manipulate values is to control where the viewer looks first, second, and third, right? So, and then you would manipulate values to create shapes. So if you see that there's an area like what I'm doing over here, that on the side of the face of the statue that is a midtone, maybe I want to make this darker to create more of a powerful shadow shape, and visually, that might be better for the actual drawing in and of itself. So that's another reason why sometimes the accuracy thing could be, you could overplay that hand to like a fault. I think it's good to like manipulate values to like really control where the viewer looks, and to make like things a little bit more dark to create more contrast in key areas. I think that's really beneficial. Okay, so we need to get the bottom of this little statue's. Yeah, this is like a button face here. Little cute button face. Well, I don't know about cute with the terracotta. It's a little chopped up, but I still think it's a beautiful little statue. Hope you can see what I'm doing here. This is a tiny face on this statue. Very tiny face. And I need to get the eyes closer together and have like shadow on the forehead. This is small, people. So I'm not going to go crazy with the detail, because how big is that face? It's a 1/2 of an inch. Yeah, so again, copying exactly. Do you really want to copy something exactly that's a 1/2 of an inch? Back in the day, I would, and but I don't care to do that much anymore. I'm just going to put some tone over there, and the reason why I'm putting the tone there is because I kind of want the top of the hair to pop out against like the value of the paper there. I think that's kind of cool. Now let's bring some creativity into the mix. Okay, so I'm gonna. Oh, actually, I will do that momentarily. Let me just finish what I've started with this section of the head. I need to balance the drawing and add some white charcoal on the top so things look congruent here. Yes. The white charcoal is the one that always disappears. Maybe I need to get better eyes. Yeah, like I said, the white charcoal is the one that... Oh, there it is. I just got like too many pencils in one area. Okay. So everything on this side is very light. And yeah, this is cool. Lots of, and there's a part to the hair. Now, this drawing, if I really wanted to, I can spend days on this drawing, but it's just for the live stream. So that's where, you know, you really got to pick and choose like your battles in terms of time spent and decisions. And so my decisions are I just want to make a somewhat pretty drawing here for this live stream while we are having a conversation. Yeah, totally. Okay, we need some light on that little button nose as my pencil just chipped on the side of the mouth, under the nose, which I think I've got the mouth a little bit too low maybe. Chin. Pressing down somewhat hard. And I think I always tend to go lighter with the values near the head and shoulders anyways. I like that. It's a little bit more traditional, bringing the viewer's eye up to the head and shoulders. More visual contrast there. So again, you could manipulate. That's the part of the creative process where you make the decision. Where do I want the viewer to look first, second, and third? So I'll put my most contrast where I want the viewer to look first, right? So in this particular case, my contrast is going to be up top. And if I come back in, oh yeah, I got to get up soon. I got to, yeah, I've been drinking way too many fluids. Okay, I get you, too much information. Let me go a little darker here. Darker here. And I want to, I'm not copying, I'm just playing. And I want to go darker with this edge because I really want that shot. Like visually for me, that's so much better. So much better. And visually for me, let me resharpen the pencil. I'm going to come around with my pencil stroke direction to show to the viewer that the face is turning around and it is an oval shape. This pencil breaks very easily. Yes. I'm constantly sharpening because this is such a small head. Now, I'm going to make this edge a little bit more, I'm going to try to make it a little bit more complicated. So this is where I'm using my creative license, and I am not copying what I am seeing, and I'm deliberately going darker on this side of the head with my pencil stroke because the head is popping because the background is a dark middle tone gray, or at least a middle tone gray, I can accurately say. And my paper is a light value. So I'm making the statue's head pop a little bit more so with the darker outline. And I'm okay with that. Some people don't like the outline thing. Okie dokie, good. There's a little ear on the other side. And I'm going to go darker with that. And I just want to make the face feel rounder by chiseling that dark line, and just I want it to be rounder. It looks too straight. better, much better. Oh my God. Okay. Very small area we're working in right now. I'm going to shade this, and I want to have some like so-called strands of hair. And there's a part in the middle of the hair over here. Oh, I didn't see that. So I'm going to suggest that. Over here, that's kind of dark in the center. I have no idea what that is. Kind of almost looks like flowers or something. Oh, I see. There's rhythm to this part that rolls in. So the more you look at the head, the more you discover. And that's the beautiful thing about doing the long drawings, that I all of not all, but I'd say 80 to 90% of the students that I teach in the animation department like the short drawings, and maybe 10 to 15% like longer drawings. So the beautiful thing about doing the longer drawings like this is I'm an hour into the drawing, plus an hour and a half almost, and I'm just discovering new things on the face, on the hair, which is interesting and very, very cool. So you just kind of, the longer you sit with your drawing, the more you discover, and that's a fun thing. So I am outlining. I don't care. I'm just doing it because visually I want this little statue's head to jump off the page, and I'm gonna, at risk of making it feel flat, I'm gonna outline, no doubt. Bye, Kelly. Thank you so much. I will see. Good luck with the interior homework. Make sure with the interior homework, Kelly, that you take us on a journey. Put your character in there. Tell a story. Put shit in the room. Light and shade. Good perspective. You know the dealio. Thank you, Kelly. Have a whole list for doing interiors, which I will not talk about here. And the homework was to do a 1 point or a 2 point perspective interior scene for a background for an animation. And my favorite class is that class, no doubt. Okay, I need to stand up, people. I've been sitting down for way too long, and I need to take like a 2-3 minute break so I can reset my eyes, go to the bathroom, and give my hand a chance to like be below my heart. So I will be back in 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, let's just take a little break. Okay, I'm back. We're ready to go here. And I'm going to work on the face for a little bit longer. I like that cute little face. You don't want to overwork it. That would be a bad thing. Okay, let's see here. So that eye socket does kind of look like that. So I'm just going to look at this very loosely, not worry about copying it exactly, just get a little bit more dark. I want to be careful with this terracotta pencil that I don't press down too hard with the pencil, because then what's going to wind up happening is I'm going to start to dent the paper, and it's going to have indentations, and that's bad. Okay, just a couple more little pieces of detail, and then I'm going to move on. But I like more versus less here. No doubt. And I think right now the white charcoal pencil is a little overrated. Like, more of this drawing should be done with this pencil. I think I kind of prematurely used the Tuscan red pencil. I should have just stuck with the terracotta, because it does get somewhat dark. I just haven't used it enough to remember that. Like, you have to, that's the bad thing about using too many art materials. You don't become one with your materials. And when you use the same materials over and over and over again, you become one with them, and you know how they kind of play together. And so I don't really use this pencil often enough. And so I forgot that if you stick with the drawing long enough, that it will get somewhat dark. Totally. I'm just going to keep that like a simple eye socket shape. I do not want to overwork this little tiny face here. And I want to keep it loose, and I'm so not worried about the accuracy thing. This is more about like a look and feel for me. Okie dokie, I'm going to come on down, and I'm going to stick with, I want to erase this and make this have a nice hard edge right here. Yes, I like that. So the other side I'm doing, so this is just like a classic reverse gradation. I can get rid of, I want there to be a hard dark edge here. Where's my big brush? So far, my favorite part of this like little statue is the head. It's a cute little head. And I need to make the rest of the statue, for me personally, feel like the way that I drew the head. And it's just time. I need to spend a little bit more time with it. I want this to be harder edged. So you have to go over this pencil multiple times. Press down on certain sections multiple times to really get that dark feel of it without denting the paper. Because this paper could have these, like, that's what happened to me with a drawing that I did. I think it was the graphite one that we did last week. When I was complete with the drawing, there was an area where I used the, whatchamacallit, mechanical pencil, I think, maybe. I don't remember. It might have been the Blackwing. And I pressed down so hard on that I dented the paper a little bit. And you see that more so with graphite and less with this coloered pencil. So just, again, using my artistic license and changing the values up, not copying exactly what I see, just using the statue like as a rough overlay for changing it up just enough to try to make it my own. I like it so much darker on that side. There's just this statue has so much texture. It could really be overwhelming. You just gotta, like I said, pick and choose your battles with this one. What are you gonna put in, and what are you gonna purposefully leave out? So you got to bring that background tone right up to the edge of the statue. Now that arm is kind of like a straight line, and I usually always preach there's no straight lines on the figure. So this is an area that I can kind of make it my own as well and not copy what I see. So when I look at the statue, it's not straight, but I could curve that even more so. And for the aesthetic of the piece, I could shorten this arm and not copy exactly what I see there. So like you just need to like you'll find your aesthetic if you don't have one already where you're going to change things up. Like for me, I have a certain aesthetic with portraits. Like I like to put less information like around the smile/frown marks on a portrait. That's just my aesthetic, and I don't like to copy exactly what I see on the in terms of all the lights and the darks. Like I'll manipulate the values more than anything on a portrait. So let me see if I can't go a little bit more solid with this background tone. Do we have any questions as we're going here? The other thing that's weird with this pencil is sometimes like it feels like it gets like a little gritty, the point, and then you have to like draw on the side of the paper to get that gritty feeling off of this pencil. It's weird. I don't know why it does that. Okay, let's see. Where are we? Just going a little darker here. I want this side of the statue's hip to really pop out. So I like that edge now. It's starting to work for me a little bit more. I'm putting different texture in the background, trying to make that more of like a mid-tone background. Yeah, do you hear that noise? I don't know if my mic's picking it up, but the pencil's like really scratching the paper. I don't know what that's all about with this pencil and why that does that. So you see, I'm just kind of being playful with the background tone. We don't need to copy exactly what we see, although I do very much so love the gray mid-tone background. That's always my favorite. Okay, let's see. Let's try to get some flavor here. Yeah, there's a lot going on this statue. Oh my God, the amount of details. Gonna make a hard edge here. And I'm just kind of going up and down, trying to recreate that texture that I see. I'm really pushing the pencil into the paper here. So it sticks, this pencil. Yeah. Yeah, some of the colors are definitely harder. and some are waxier. Yes, you are correct. So with this terracotta like texture that's happening on the statue, you have to still leave. You don't want to cover everything with the white charcoal. You've got to leave some of that color of that beige paper. And you could do that in some sections by just putting the white charcoal down without pressing down super hard on the pencil. Now, I could also use the white charcoal in the background over here. I don't know if I'm ready to open up that Pandora's box, but that is an option too. Downward pencil stroke with some of the cylindrical shapes. Okay, let me just add a little bit more pencil here. Very, very detailed. Now that I'm really getting into the drawing now. There's details everywhere. My goodness. And the terracotta is going pretty dark. I'm somewhat pleased with it. Like I said, this is why you've got to become one with your art supplies, because if you're not one with them and you go to use like a different color, different pencil paper combination that you haven't used, and maybe you use it like a year ago, and then you just forget. You just forget. So it's nice to really become one with your materials. Okay, I'm going to zoom out again. And I've got to lift up the drawing. Better. Much better. Okay. We're getting there. It's slow, people. It's slow today. How we doing? How we doing out there? Are we okay? All right, let's see. I need to go to good. All right. I'm just pressing down hard. I know I'm probably denting the paper. Just having fun. Today is just a fun, relaxed, not worrying about perfection sort of live stream. Questions from anybody? Questions? Wow, my God, we're an hour and 45 minutes in. This one is going by fast. I feel like I've got such a long way to go on this drawing. My God. So I'm sure I'll work on it a little bit. Thank you, Carmela. I'm sure I'll work on this like a little bit off camera. All good. Okay, cool. I just want to make this look somewhat finished before I finish this live stream, because right now it does not look close to finished. It feels a little choppy. How do you draw clothes? Well, the thing with clothes is that what I'm drawing right here, Batman 99, this is nothing more than a cylinder. It's just a cylinder, nothing more and nothing less. And so, you know, this cylinder, this line, I'm representing the cylinder more like in a linear fashion. And then you could add a couple of curved lines around the cylinder. And so that's one part of drawing clothes. The other part of drawing clothes is that what makes light and shadow on the fabric is what is underneath the fabric. So how this leg is bending is showing that this surface plane is light and that surface plane is turning under. So when you look, yes, everything is, to me, when I think about folds of fabric, we're talking about folds, not wrinkles. So folds are cylindrical, and what makes a fold is what is pushing from underneath. So it's the body parts that really create the fabric, light and shadow. Hope that made sense. So now what I'm doing is I'm just drawing kind of abstract shapes of shadow shapes. And that's an easier way to think about fabric, is just in more of an abstract sort of way. But yeah, it's a lot of cylinders, a lot of cylinders. And you want to, if the leg is vertical, you want your pencil strokes to go vertical, because if you have too many horizontal pencil strokes, like the drawing's just going to get really, 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 really choppy. Now, artistic license, I could leave this a little bit darker and not lighten this, and shouldn't really lighten that because it's technically in the shadow, but okay. I need to use the big brush to brush off some of the eraser crumbs. And I want to go darker here. And a nice sharp edge. Technically in the shadow, you don't want a sharp edge. But I like this little negative space down over here near the foot. I like the way that it looks. And so I'm going against tradition. And tradition is soft edges in the shadow, hard edges in the light, or where you want the viewer to look first, or in the foreground. So I am going against the grain. And I'm going pretty hard edge with this stuff. I think that the drawing is too soft right now. I'm trying to crisp it up so it's a little bit more visually powerful. And long downward pencil strokes with this fabric. I'm sure I'm denting the paper. I'm sure of it, because I'm pressing down pretty hard around the foot. This foot is such a cool shape. It's kind of how I teach how to draw feet. It's a story for another day, but I do think I have a video on YouTube about that. The cast shadow. Oops. I got a brand new keyboard. I finally got a new little Mac Mini. My iMac died like 5 years ago, and I milked it for 5 years. And I got a new keyboard, and I'm getting all these eraser crumbs in the keyboard because it's right underneath my drawing. So I need to not do that, Matt. Okay, so just trying to make this cast shadow softer, and I'm trying to connect the statue's feet onto the ground. I don't want to draw too much attention down over here either. Um, yeah, no, it's dented. I should get the drawing that I completed. It's on the wall, like right in front of me. Um, I should get that drawing and show it to you. The dents that I'm talking about. That's to me the downside of like graphite. Like these pencils don't dent as much, but I am pressing down pretty hard right now. Let's see. Okay. Yep. I'm trying to curve the bottom of the fabric. We don't want that to be straight. Straight lines equal stiff. Just trying to get the front plane of that shoe. What I say to my students is be careful with the contrast near the feet. You don't want the viewer to look at the foot first. And I'm starting to go a little bit too contrasty down over here. So we'll just ease up on that a little bit with the mono zero. I kind of like leaving some of the construction lines because sometimes when you leave some of your initial construction lines, like it loosens the drawing up a little bit. And yes, I'm going against the grain, people. I am outlining my edge, which has the tendency to flatten things out. And I've got hard edges. So my lost edge is here on that arm. It's kind of getting lost into the background tone. I don't have too many. Maybe one could argue that this is almost like a lost edge here. Now, I could use my artistic license and shade that whole side of the fabric. I don't know if I want to go there. There's just so many options. You see, that's the other beautiful thing about what we're talking about here today is when you don't copy exactly, like it just gives you so many more options of creativity that when you try to always do the accuracy thing, like you're limited. Like it does limit you a little bit when you are constantly trying to always copy. Oh yeah, this pencil is weird. It gets scratchy after a while. Like I just totally dented the paper there. Weird. Like let me sharpen it. The black pencil does not do that. I want this to really pop out. So I'll erase it and then I'll go in with the white charcoal. Resharpen that. Go against the grain now. I'm going against the grain here with the white charcoal. So at first the lines were vertical. And now I'm doing horizontal short strokes just to kind of recreate that interesting texture. Okay, so I think maybe we'll work on this for a little while longer. And then maybe we'll call it a live stream. It needs work. It definitely needs work. It's fun though. This is very fun. I thought I was going to be using a couple more different pencils, but um, I don't like the results that I got with. Let me try brown. These pencils, my God, if I told you how old this brown color erase pencil is, if there was a date on that, it's so old. It's like over like 10, 15 years old maybe. I don't even know when I bought this thing. Um, oh, that's very dark. I got to watch my P's and Q's here with pressing down hard with that. But interesting. Ooh, this is a nice pencil. I actually like this better than that terracotta. I'm going gentle. I'm not coming in hard with a sledgehammer. Just suggesting and building it up gradually. I do like more of the lighter look to it with the terracotta, so I don't want to go too dark with this because then, like I said, then we change up all of the value ratio. But the thing of what I think is most important with adding this darker pencil is that I go from top to bottom. So I should really start at the head. I should zoom in a little. Sorry, my bad. So I should start up top over here with a little bit of the dark. And then just start to dance down. Got to be careful because I got to be conscious of where I'm making contrast. I'm not hating it. It's okay. It's okay. Just want to be deliberate with where you use it and don't just kind of haphazardly throw it in. And that's why I'm really talking about like top to bottom. It does make the whites pop a little bit, you know, and that's my mantra. In order to show this light, you must have a dark. If there's no light, I'm sorry, if there's no dark, there's no light to show. Now, I've also got to be very, very careful that I don't overdo this pencil at the bottom because I don't want the bottom to like distract me too much with too much contrast. And the only reason why I'm putting this pencil down over here is just for a little bit of balance. Okay, good. All right. So what do you think? Should we call this live stream done? Have you had enough of this? I got to fix this area. I don't like that at all. Um Yeah, we're about 2 hours in. I think this live stream, we're just about done with it. And I'm going to keep drawing on the drawing. Keep going. All right, let's see here. Anybody else have any opinions on this? I think I got to stand up again because my butt is killing me, people. Elizabeth, that is so funny. Um, I feel like I need, listen, look at, I feel like I need to get my head closer to this drawing. Like I am so flippin' far away from the drawing. But you don't need to see my head. Trust me, you don't need to see the top of my head. So I'll work on it. Let's say like let me take a bathroom break. I need to get up off this chair, people. I desperately need to get up off this chair. Sitting is the new smoking, right? And I'll come back and we'll give it another 15 minutes and then we'll call it a live stream. But I need to stand up because this is killing me. I never sit down for this long, ever, unless I'm stuck on the Long Island Railroad, which that's a story for another day. I'll be right back. 2-3 minute stand up break. Okay, let's finish this thing off. Let's work for roughly like 10, 15 more minutes, and then we'll call it a live stream. So in essence here, what I'm just really trying to do is put down some more detail, but yet try my very best to get rid of straight lines. Try my very best to go a little bit darker um, with certain areas. And because what I'm trying to do is just create some shape. Shape is very, very important. Has anyone ever used a standing desk? I wonder how much better it would be. Nate, check it out. So I got to be careful what I do here. I don't want to screw everything up. Look at my everything move. Yes. So I do have a stand-in desk, right? My Cintiq screen is on it. And I used to use it all the time. And to my left, hold on. Let's do this. Look, see these two buttons over here? This is my other desk that is a stand-in desk, and it's freaking killer. The problem, Nate, is my camera. I could move the desk up and down, right? I could move this up and down in like a heartbeat, and it's awesome. But for me doing the live streams, I can't. Like I could move this up, but then I can't move my cameras. And like this camera that you see right in front of me, if I do this again, 1 second, where's my button here? Oh God, yeah, okay. So look, my camera's raising up, so I'm getting shorter. So yeah, hello camera. And so it's on my stand-in desk, that camera. The problem with me right now is the camera above my head that films the actual drawing. That one, I cannot move that to have it be in sync with this, right? Um, totally. So that's my issue, but I swear by them, and I give like a list. Okay, okay, Neil, got you. Jumping jacks. um, I will also do them, Elizabeth. I skipped my exercise this morning. Yes. Um, yes, absolutely. So I like that. I give a list of things to my for my students. Like there's suggestions because everybody's on a budget, and you know these things all cost money. But you can get a standing desk. You can get into one. It's called a standing desk converter, where you put it on your existing desk and you don't need it to be electric. It could be manual, and you just squeeze the lever, and it's actually probably faster than the electric one. You just squeeze the lever and you lift up your desk, and then you could, even if you just stand and work and draw. I did this for years. Like the live streams that I did when there was years ago, before I stopped doing them, I used to do them standing up because I had everything adjusted differently. Uh, no doubt about it. But I don't think my live streams were this long. They were like an hour or something like that. Maybe I could be wrong. I don't remember those details. But yeah, I think if you're anyone who works at a computer all day, the option of standing up is really important. Now, when I used to be a full-time illustrator, illustrating books, I would I would change my position 3 times a day. So in the morning, I would sit and paint with my painting vertically on an easel, and then after lunch, I would work standing up with my painting vertical at the easel. And then in the late afternoon, I would sit back down and I would put my painting on a drawing board at 45-degree angle, and I would work that way. So I think it's not whether you're standing up or whether you're sitting down. I think what it is making sure that you are in different positions throughout the day so you save your body. Okay, so it's Carmelo. This is a standing desk converter. So all habitual standing desks cause a lot of goofing around, spreading legs apart until you're halfway doing a split. Wrap legs around each other. That is pretty funny, and I'm sure people do that, no doubt. Um, but you know, you think about an artist like traditional easel. You have the option of going high or low with the turn of like, or just the click of whatever is the mechanism on the easel. So most easels are very very fast to transition from standing to sitting, no doubt. It's the students at the School of Visual Arts. They sit a lot. They sit a lot, and so I try to get the class standing as much as I possibly can throughout the day. And because we have drawing horses, which is you sit on a drawing horse. Um, yeah, we don't have easels in the classroom. The easels are really nice for I draw. Don't tell anyone, but I took an easel from the fine arts department at SVA, and I brought it upstairs to the animation department, which is a no-no, but don't tell anyone. And so I use an easel when I draw in the classroom because I'm teaching and I want to project my voice when I'm teaching. So standing helps with that. All right. Yeah, this thing's going to be over at like 10, 12, 15, 12, 15, because I feel like where I'm at with this little sculpture is good for a live stream. Now, listen, I've been doing this now for 2+ hours. Let's just call it 2+ hours. So I'm going to give myself a little commercial, okay? A less than 2-minute commercial. So I'm very, very pleased that you're here with me watching on YouTube, and hopefully I taught you maybe one thing today. But what is really going to help you improve faster is getting feedback on your artwork. And without feedback, you could be watching these live streams or YouTube drawing demonstrations from all of the other great teachers on YouTube, and you could have like 1 year, 2 years go by, and you're just doing one thing wrong. And that one thing is hampering your progress. And it takes like a trained eye to really see what maybe is that one thing that isn't really working for you, but you don't see it. And that's where my website comes in, drawingtutorialsonline.com, where, yeah, there's a ton of YouTube videos that will teach you how to draw, but I have like them in sequences that makes sense with photo reference. So what you do is you pick one of the courses when you log in. I recommend the Begin Here Step-by-Step course. And you do that course and you learn the basics. And every week you're entitled to upload one of your drawings a week to the member critique gallery. And I draw on top of your drawing, critiquing it. And you could ask questions when you post your drawing, like, Matt, I'm working on this drawing. It's from the Begin Here Step-by-Step department. And like, I just don't know how to draw this section. Like, I don't know what you mean by that. And you ask that question and you post the reference, you post your drawing, and then I do a draw on top of and I answer your question. I mean, that's how you improve fast. I mean, yes, you can improve by listening to me here on YouTube. This is just classic, listening, watching, sort of learning. But the other sort of learning is actually getting feedback. And yeah, you have to pay a little bit for that versus completely free. But again, it's about improving faster. And so something for you to ponder. And the other thing that I offer is artist coaching. And I do that in a very, very, very limited way because my time is very constricted during the fall and the spring semesters. And so that's a little bit more labor intensive, absolutely. But I do offer that. It's a little bit more of a premium for the one-on-one coaching because I'm not giving you like a 8-minute critique. I'm giving you a 45-minute critique on your artwork. So with the way the coaching works is you sign up for the coaching, you send me your work, you answer a couple of questions that I ask you, and then I do your first critique, which is a critique of your body of work, at least 10 pieces or 8 pieces, whatever you have. If you have 5, that's fine. And I'll critique that, and then I give you homework, and then we meet on Zoom and we talk. And then the last little promotion I can give, because we're almost past the 2 minutes, we're probably at 3 minutes of me talking about what I offer, is the Zoom class on my website. So how is the Zoom class? People hate Zoom. Some people really hate it from the COVID days. But how is my Zoom class beneficial for you? It's beneficial because we work together, but you can ask me questions, and then but on video, not on chat. And yes. after we draw together for an hour, then we go around to everybody's work and we look at it, and I give you feedback on the Zoom class as well. Okay, let me just look at the chat. Batman 99. Do you know that your student Dana Terrace and Vivian Medrano both have TV shows that are famous? Yeah, totally. I know that they're extremely famous and very, very successful. And my thoughts on them is that you could tell these students, when you see the students when they are 18 years old, 19 years old, how successful, you just could see it. It's just a trait that people have that go on to do very, very successful things. Like I don't talk too much about this, but there's a phrase, and it's, oh God, now I'm having a brain freeze here. So it's just that they're a little bit more proactive and they're a little less reactive. Like they're very proactive, these people, and they go above and beyond the given assignments, and they always, like, they asked me, they always ask me, like, constantly, those two students, like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Like, and they always did extra on the homework. They never just did like the bare minimum. And I always say to my students with the homework, you get what you give, you get to keep. So if you give shit, you keep shit. If you give excellence and time and effort, you get to keep excellence, time, and effort in the form of like the skill that you're developing. That was a mouthful, but that is so important. So with those students, I know that they're very, very famous. And I know, but I saw them, like they were in my class for like 15 weeks, years and years and years ago. I mean, I was a different human being back then. And yeah, totally. So I'm so happy that they have success. There's a lot of people who have graduated from the School of Visual Arts and have gone on to do very, very big things. It's not just those two students, but yeah, they're definitely an inspiration, no doubt about it. Would different cameras work, like having a second camera that you flip to when you move the desk? Sleepy Javan Langour, Javan. Yeah, that could work. But I need to spend like $5,000 to get 2 new cameras that are 4K. So I wouldn't want to spend another $2,500 for a camera and a lens to get 3 of them, which would bring me up to $7,500. So that would hurt. That would be very, very painful. The camera that I want to get with lens is probably about $2,200. And the camera is such a good camera because it doesn't overheat during a live stream. My cameras are old now. They're not 4K, but they do not overheat during like a 2-hour live stream, and most modern day cameras do, unless you're willing to fit a very, very high price tag. So yeah, I've got a lot of money to invest coming up. Yeah, that's true, Carmela. To look at your classmates grow is another good thing about the Zoom class versus the live stream. I mean, don't get me wrong, the live stream is pretty awesome, but with the Zoom class, like, you get to see your classmates every week in person. Okay, nice. Very nice. Yes, so that is a class that I did where we talked about measurements and discussion about Robert Greene's palette that I saw, and that was a good class. That was a good class. That is not the Robert Greene video is on YouTube, Elizabeth. So if you type in Robert Greene, I think it was either the New York Academy or it was the Art Students League. It's a great video. It's a great video. Yeah, yeah, I know. Ouch. Tell me about it. Michael Alb, I definitely, it's 50-50 right now. Right now, I am drawing more. Well, I would say maybe it's 60-40. So 60% of my time is drawn from life and 40% of my time is drawn from photos. When do I draw from photos? I only draw from a photo on the live stream here and on my Zoom class. Those are the times that I draw from photos. The other time I am drawing from life, from the model in the classroom. So actually, Michael, that's wrong. Let me rephrase that. I would say 40% of my time is drawn from photos. The other 40% of my time is drawn from the model, and 20% of my time is drawn out of my imagination, because a lot of the demonstrations that I do for the class, they're out of my imagination. I joined your website years ago. The critiques were invaluable. The only problem was within myself. I wasn't disciplined. Maybe I'll return. Yeah, this is just something. All right, let's see here. I'm going to move away from this drawing right now because I think I'm done with this thing. And I'm going to just go here. So the thing that y'all have to understand is that students are with teachers for a certain period of time, and then they get to a point where each teacher has something to offer. And then what that teacher does is they offer one thing, and they repeat that one thing. That's their thing. It could be painting portraits with a certain palette, or it could be doing gesture drawings with a certain technique. And then if you're with that student, that teacher for over a year, then you start to lose interest because the teacher keeps repeating themselves. And then you find the next teacher to help you grow to the next level. So when I first started my website and people would join, I'd get so excited, oh my God. And then when the first time somebody canceled from my website, I was devastated. And I'm like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? Do I suck as a teacher? What the hell? And then I just realized the way school works is you have a teacher for a year, and then you move on to the next teacher, and you learn the next thing. There are some students who stay with teachers for years, and that's fine too. But the majority of people have to learn from different teachers because they're just ready to hear something new. But I've been teaching for so many years. What I've discovered is that most teachers talk about the same things, especially in the art world. It's just that they use different language and terminology. For me, I personally tend to not take myself so seriously, and I tend to teach in more of a jokingly fun sort of way, whereas another teacher might teach at an atelier and be a little bit more serious, and they might be using $100 words where I'm using a $2 word to teach the same thing. And it's just their style. Maybe they're a little bit more serious. Maybe they take themselves more seriously. But I find that, I've had teachers visit my class, very, very popular teachers who are famous. And I watch them do their demonstration, and I know exactly what they're doing. They're just using different words to kind of explain the same thing. And that's my take on teachers. And being with a website or a teacher for a certain period of time, you hear them and then you move on. Now, okay, let me close with this because I don't want to get too off on a tangent here. You will also connect with a teacher more than a different teacher. So people might connect with a teacher who's more serious than me. People might connect with me because they like more of a teacher who's a little bit more fun and a little bit more humorous and doesn't take things so seriously. So there's also the connection with the teacher that you have to have in order to learn with them. So yes, absolutely. I'm just looking at this. And then my last thing, and this goes to Sleepy Javon Langor, it also, for you personally, you're going to, some people, drawing is just a hobby and not a career. So you're going to fall in and out of love with your hobbies, and you're going to fall in and out of interest, and then you'll come back to them over time. So you might really be at a point in your life where you're very, very interested in what you're doing, in your hobby of learning how to draw. And then you might reach a point where you're like, you know what, I kind of want to learn how to paint now. And maybe you found a teacher on YouTube and you're going to jump to that teacher. So there's that. You know, like I said, everybody's different. I've had people, members of my website for 5+ years, and I've had people, a member of my website for 5+ days. So everyone's different. Does anybody have any questions before we go? Yep, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, this live stream is done, people. 2.5 hours. Does anybody have any questions before we call this one done? Let me hold this up for you. That was fun. It was a cute little drawing. It needs work, though, and I'll play with it a little bit after I eat lunch. Awesome. I'm not sold on it. It needs work. Like, all of the folds need to be like a little bit curvier, I believe. All right, now listen, there's a delay with the live stream. There's a delay. And so I say goodbye, and when I'm saying goodbye, then everybody says thank you with their hearts, and I feel so bad. So if you want to give me a heart for the video or a thumbs up, go for it. Go for it. I'll stick around. And thank you, Phoenix. Thank you, Eldeberto, Ed, Paul. I appreciate. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Thank you, Carmela. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, Sleepy Javan. Slar, appreciate that. Lenny, you had some really good points, Lenny. Thank you. That was what you said was the best point on the entire live stream. It's that it makes, you're not just copying something, but when you change it and you're more creative, it makes it your own, which is special, right? So I'm going to be back with the next live stream next Monday. Now listen to me. Please make sure to like this video. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. And then, Michael, thank you so much. You had some good questions also. If there's something that you want me to teach you, please, in the comment section, not in the chat comment, but in the comment underneath the video, because that has legs, or even in the posts, definitely give me your thoughts on what you want to learn next. Batman, thank you for joining, and Carmela, thank you. Lenny, thank you. All right, everybody, I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you next Monday, okay? Be good. Thanks for watching. Oh, hey, Carter. God, I've been sitting down in this chair for almost 2.5 hours, and it's good to see you. Welcome. And I'm leaving now. Didn't you come to class late so much, Carter? You're late to the live stream, too. Come on. I'm only joking with you. See you, Lenny. Carter, I do this live stream every Monday, okay? So maybe you can visit next Monday. We do long drawings here. I don't know if that interests you, but I really appreciate you saying hi, and I hope you're feeling okay. Hope everything's good with you. All right. See y'all later.